Hey Alice, welcome back. You have come at a good time. We have these two gentlemen, which are the Blissful Idiot, together. Two parts, one idiot.
Yeah.
This is Bliss
Hello.
and this is Idiot. No, we got Will and Chris. Thanks for coming, guys.
Hell yeah, dude.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, we made it happen. It was good landing of the cards that we were able to get it before the show coming up at April 3rd at the Cobra with what other bands did you say?
Tall Tall Trees and Waking April.
Hell yeah. And then you've got music out on the streaming platforms as Blissful Idiot and as Woolberry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's
Fuck yeah.
how many
Yeah.
on Blissful? There's two tracks on Blissful Idiot.
Yeah, two on Blissful Idiot and about, I want to say, seven on the other one.
Right on.
Maybe 10.
Hell yeah. Either 7 or 10, definitely not 8 or 9 though.
Definitely not.
I want to say there are like 11 or 12 singles that we kind of recorded and then like slow released over the last couple of years.
Gotcha. So before we got started, before Alice got here, you were telling me about the single art. Which track was that?
Oh yeah, the single art for Quick Wit. Um, yeah, there's a little gnome and like a DNA helix looking thing, and yeah, I went through like a running phase where I did a bunch of running, and I was going on a jog one day, and looked down and just saw the string laying on the side of the sidewalk, just like on this like little patch of moss. And I was like, wow, that's extraordinary.
Is that the
I must take
picture?
a picture of it. Yes.
Holy shit.
And so yeah, I took the picture of the string like next to the concrete and the moss, and it just like I was like, wow, that's a really rad combo.
Unless you told me, I would have thought that you just like you purposefully put it like that because it looks crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's wild.
No,
That you just stumbled on that is insane.
Looks
yeah,
like
it
a
was just
painting
laying
or
there.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fucking wild.
And then I superimposed the garden on them.
Yeah,
He's kind of like our mascot, you could say.
hell yeah. That's a
What
great
do you mean,
mascot.
dude? He was there. Yeah, he was there.
He didn't superimpose anything.
Uh,
He was just hanging out.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, he was there the whole time. It's super.
Like no one can
Yeah.
verify it, you know? This is unverifiable information. We can say whatever we want. There's no consequences to any of our
Yeah.
actions. I can
He's-
I can say awful things, you know, such as leave.
well, he's here now too, you know, just
Yeah,
in another dimensional page.
and then we can superimpose him right here. This is bleeding through dimensions. Do you guys believe in gnomes?
No, not really.
I do.
I mean,
What?
the garden gnomes. Yeah, I don't. What do you mean? I mean,
Do you believe in them? Like, do you think they can do it?
depend. What are they doing?
It.
If they can just stand there, yeah, I totally have faith in that.
Me too. I believe in them.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do
this
you
is
believe
bringing
in
me back
gnomes?
to
I do.
Goosebumps.
I do.
You remember that episode of Goosebumps where the garden gnomes come to life?
No,
Dude,
that sounds great.
that's
Or
like
horrible.
that's my only experience with garden gnomes is watching that episode of Goosebumps.
Do you
That's a
fear the
classic
gnomes?
No,
How many? Okay, sorry. New question. How many gnomes do you think you could take in a fight?
all of them, every one of them.
I'd say about 25, 30.
Damn. I don't know. I think you guys can fight a lot more gnomes than me.
I got it. It's
If I
the
have
reach.
nunchucks, then maybe 50.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
the reach.
with an AR-15, quite a few. I don't know if they're like. See, gnomes seem to have a degree of intelligence, so they probably like. It's not like fighting toddlers, which I have a lot of experience with.
True, they are all like all of them
Yeah,
are old.
they're all knowing.
Yeah,
They probably
old wise
they can
men.
probably fuck you up,
Yeah.
Okay, how many gnomes that are holding knives do you think you could fight?
What am I holding?
Probably 7.
You're barehanded.
Oh damn! Like,
But
like
you
I have
could
bare
potentially,
hands.
yeah, you have bare hands.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, you have bare hands, and you could potentially take their knives. So like maybe the first one, like if you get him down, like now you have more of a shot.
Claws this hand, knife this hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Probably like 50.
Okay.
50, wow.
Yeah.
See, one of
That's a
them
lot of
eventually
knives.
is going to get your ankle or something. Then you're going to get slowed down, and then it's just a matter of time if there's infinite amounts, right? So like 50, I feel like that's like pretty impressive, but that's a reasonable, realistic number, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if I have bare hands.
Wait, with
Yeah.
knives?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bare hands and knives.
One knife, one bare hand. Like bare.
Oh, you have the knife, or do the gnomes have the knife?
The gnomes
The
have
gnomes
knives,
have
but the
knives.
caveat to that is you can take them from them.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Although
sounds
if
like
we
a
go with
horrific
the
experience.
original, if I have both bare hands, I don't have an opposable thumb, so that I can't really take.
Okay, how many toddlers with knives do you think? Let's say like 6-year-olds, not quite toddlers. Like how many children do you think? They're all charging you.
What's their background?
Dude, that is a great question.
Like
that makes a difference.
What's their upbringing? Did they grow up in the projects? Or
You're making a really good point that I didn't think about. I'm making it sound like all toddlers are the same level of being able to kill you.
Were both parents there the whole time?
You're right. There's too many variables to give an accurate answer to that question. And I refuse to get any more specific about what background these kids come from.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a bad idea.
Yeah, you know that meme of ancient aliens, like aliens. You should make one just variables.
I'm bringing them together. How did y'all meet?
At work. I started working
Yes.
at the mall.
Good question.
Nice.
Yes.
Yep.
We met at work, and if you must know, we work retail at Express.
We did.
Retail
Well,
outlet.
I did. He still does.
Yeah.
And now I'm on the other side of the mall doing another store.
Hell yeah.
Now about to go to another store.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah.
But no, yeah, it was funny because I was there for about maybe 7 months, and then Chris got a job there, and I was the stock guy in the back, and Chris was out front at the register, and I was walking by to go check on the dressing rooms and make sure that the go backs are all back, and I noticed Chris was like drumming on the counter. And I was like, "Oh, you play drums?" Because
It's like dazed out like normal. This is so boring. Like, holy shit.
So like a drummer, you were just drumming all the time.
I mean, so that's the thing. I'm not really
twist
a
to
drummer.
the story. Yes.
Yeah,
Really?
I like dabble in everything. Like
Okay.
I'm a musician.
Got you.
So like, yeah, he was like, I was like, oh my bad, dude. I was just drumming along, trying to like learn some stuff. Like I was trying to work on like a rudiment, because I'm not a drummer. So I was like, oh, paradiddle. Like I need to try that but I mean that's what you start with. So obviously, I was doing some pretty infantile stuff, and he's like, "Oh, you play drums?" I'm like, "I dabble, yeah." And he's just like, "I've been writing a bunch, and can't seem to find a drummer that's consistent." And so it's just like, well, like I got a basement with a drum set in it.
Hell yeah.
Come on over, we'll try it out.
Fuck yeah.
So I was like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you.
Where are y'all
It was-
from? I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
You were
it's all good,
especially
man.
not while you were saying a prayer. That was
No,
really
it was-
rude.
it
Stop
was-
doing that. Stop.
I can't remember. I think it was
There'll
like
be
a
none of that
year,
here.
probably 2021. Because, or wait, we've been practicing for about a year, like in rehearsals, and so yeah, it was a couple years in the pandemic, and like I hadn't played live music with a human being in so long, and like I tried Facebook, like the music groups, which was semi-successful, but it was kind of hard. I met up with one drummer and played with, and then it kind of fell off. But yeah, finally to actually have a coworker who was like, "Oh yeah, I got a drum set. Come jam." I was like, "Oh, thank God." And then yeah, just stuck with it like once a week, pretty much for about a year.
Mhm.
But I was gonna say something else, but then I forgot.
How long have y'all lived in Nashville?
Oh yeah, yeah. Where are we from?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
You
I'm.
first.
I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I moved here like 7 years ago. Um, but originally was born in Jackson, Mississippi, and moved to Knoxville in fourth grade, which would have been like 1994. And yeah,
Nice.
Nice.
What brought you here?
here I got married, and my wife Tori, her family lives in Franklin, and she's got work here. So, and my dad grew up in Franklin, so kind of like I always kind of planned to move to Knoxville, or
Yeah,
to Nashville.
from Knoxville. Yeah,
Yeah.
Knoxville's cool. I got there. Summoner's Circle from there. They're a metal band.
No.
I've only seen them a couple times, but they've toured here. They're really cool. They do like a lot of they're all in like cult garb, and they always like sacrifice someone.
Nice.
So like one time they sacrificed me, and it was like a blood pack. Like I was standing there and he was standing behind me and like had this blood pack and it just went like this. And like blood like went all down my shirt. They were fucking sick.
Nice.
Shout
Like
out to
some-
Summoner Circle.
Like some Guar stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
saw Guar before the main dude died. That was pretty sick.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a version of Guar.
They slayed T-Rex and then they murdered Britney Spears.
Fuck yeah.
It was a blow up doll, but they had a big giant like animatronic T-Rex and they like stabbed it in the head.
I heard stories of gore stories in high school.
They're-
From it's talking about, I was just like, what
They're
are you
amazing.
talking about? Like, my mind couldn't conceive of just like
I saw them at Mighty
antics
Mints last year.
of war.
They were pretty crazy.
They're a fun time.
Oh, that's cool.
Where are you from?
I'm from the dreaded upstate New York,
Hell yeah.
where dreams go to die. But no, it's nice. I love the people there. There's just nothing to do. It's all
Gotcha.
farmland. It's like I tell people I'm from New York, and then I just wait to see if they ask anymore. And then I'm like, no, not that New York. No,
I gotcha.
not the city.
My sister lives a little south of the city. And my parents they just moved up to the Poconos a couple years ago. Yeah, that place it's beautiful up there.
Yeah, as long as you're not living there, it's really nice.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like there's much to do, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, dude. Like, it's like a great retirement place. It's really nice for people who are already established or whatever. It's like a vacation
Yeah.
kind of. If you can afford it, you have to be like rich to like actually just be paying taxes on property that you don't live in all the time. But like, it's nice. But like I said, it's just there's not really a lot of opportunity because I don't know, a lot of people don't really have a lot of. I don't want to speak too much about it,
Sure.
you know. But yeah, it's just a lot of farmland.
I feel like every time. Well, how long have you been here, first of all?
7 years, I think. Yeah,
Okay, so y'all been here almost the same amount of time then.
yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh,
Not
like
you too. No, just kidding.
actually, yeah. I'm from Fayetteville, Tennessee, which is right above Huntsville, Alabama.
Nice.
Um, and so like you grew up north of Tennessee. I would have been like an hour, or maybe hour and a half south of not Tennessee, of Nashville. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, yeah, I've been here about the same amount of time. I feel like one of the things about Nashville, like a lot of cities, is like part of it is getting to shit on it, like talking shit about it.
About Broadway
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then every time I leave and go somewhere else, I'm like, fuck, I want to be home. Like I do fucking love it here.
I mean,
Although it is a fucking shit show.
it
I do
is
love it.
pretty, like, I mean, I know it's kind of dying down or whatever, but it is like a pretty, like, good destination to, like, be moving to still. Like, people are still looking at this as, like, a
Yeah,
fun, good city for now. We'll see. It is getting annoying that, like, all of, um, sorry, but the New Yorkers and the Californians are all
oh
moving here
yeah,
and
oh yeah,
invading, but
yeah. I work in storage, like storage units. And it's all retired people and like people who just moved here and like shipped their stuff in and like they're just like moving somewhere in the area.
mhm.
Yeah, it's mostly. Oh, I mean, that's everywhere worth being.
Yeah, where they have
Um,
plants.
yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of friends that um like came here specifically did that to make music, like coming from Chicago and New York and California, Texas. Um, yeah, we got a lot of good stuff going on here. I think it'll be one of those things like that we look back on, and it's like this era of Nashville is like a moment in time, kind of like, I mean, not the same thing, but similar to like Brooklyn in the 70s or like the 80s British goth thing. It's like a whole thing that happened because there's people who don't live here. It's like it's Broadway, like they don't know what it is.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna like shit on an entire genre or anything like that, but like, it's just like it's Nashville, it's Music City, but everybody thinks country music. And it's
Yeah,
like that's not everybody's vibe who lives here. So,
no,
but I think the rock scene is gonna catch on a little bit. Like, I mean, there's already like pretty classic venues that's had some really big names play, and you know you just gotta build the local scene here a little bit better.
pause real quick. I'm sorry.
That's cool.
Hey, we're filming in here. What's up?
Oh, sorry about that. I'll come back later then.
Okay. What you say?
I don't know. I don't know. That's okay.
Awesome.
No, that's fine. I was totally running out of steam. I think you
Oh,
could tell.
just the Nashville music scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like everyone who's not from here just thinks country, but yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on, and yeah, I'm excited to see what kind of community we end up being.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's a big part of what I'm trying to do is make it more of like a unified thing because it does get kind of clicky. Like like you got like the whole punk thing in Murfreesboro is like its own ecosystem. And then like all the bands downtown, like a lot of those guys know each other. Like a lot of the Broadway guys are like a whole thing. And then I don't know, it's got like pockets to it, and that's like I try to bring everyone into one singular thing. Like when
I think every community is going to be that way though. Like there's going to be people with just different tastes and different styles that gravitate towards different things, but I know what you mean. Like maybe not like maybe not be so divisive, but I think like Broadway, there's kind of a mix of like some like I noticed a lot of bands are playing like 90s stuff, like 90s covers and stuff. Like if they are trying to like veer away from the country, it is all country songs going down that street, but there are some bands that'll do like, you know, stuff that I heard on the radio on the way to school on the bus, you know, which I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. But like, I mean, Broadway in general, to me, is just like it's a tourist attraction of what, you know, people think of when they think of Nashville. So it's like it has its purpose, but like if you were in the punk scene in the first place, you probably aren't looking to go to Broadway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're going to gravitate towards like East Nashville and like seeing some of those venues.
and then yeah, for sure. And it does become a thing like I don't know, people who like are just like jealous don't I've definitely have heard people say things like I make art, but like these guys are just making like they're just downtown selling their ass basically,
Making money. Yeah.
and all that is like oh you're just jealous as fuck that they're
Mhm.
getting paid right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that is.
Like
is
you would
like,
do it if you could. You just don't know how to like
Yeah.
break into it.
Exactly. It's like it's just a cope, you know? And yeah, so but I mean like there's absolutely no reason for any of that shit. And you make a good point that it's like people are gonna gravitate towards what they gravitate to. But I think the big thing is people need to not be competitive. Like I see it a lot with that whole thing. And it's like
There's room enough for everybody
Yeah.
to get something. Yeah.
and it's just not it's such a small town. Like not compared to like, you know, like where I grew up, but like it is a small town, you know, and it's like it is one thing. So it's like you have to everyone needs to have a good attitude because we all like swim in the same pond, you know? And it's like, yeah.
But that's human nature. I think like it's hard to navigate when there's people who are like, you know, if you start to take off in a certain like in whatever clique you're in, you start rising to the top. Everybody gets like a little bit of a power complex, like, oh, and then it's how you deal with that. So like, I mean, you know, in the past it was like Steven Tyler unplugging people's equipment. You know what I mean? So because they're doing better and they have to follow that or something like that. But like at some point, everybody gets like competitive in their craft. But you know,
Yeah.
it's just how you respond. You know.
For sure.
But yeah, building the community and like I think there's a pretty good base right now in Nashville. I mean, it's very clicky, but like I think people don't really go out of their way to shit on another area. They kind of talk shit amongst their own circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not like throwing beer cans at each other.
That's true. It's No one has any balls. You're right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. No, it's like I think it's a lot better than when I first got here. Like it's not as much like that as it like has been historically, I think. And it's just the thing that irks me about it is like doing that is just not a good, it's just not wise. Like not only like should you be a good person to be a good person, but like also it's just bad strategy not to be. I actually since we're on the subject, um my one of my big things I've been thinking about right now is moral philosophy. Um and I think more specifically it is stupid to be evil. Like being evil is bad, but it's also stupid because the thing is like when you do something bad, you don't you can't possibly like say you kill someone. It's like you can't possibly understand the ramifications of your actions. It's like literally not
the
possible.
ripples that come off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna echo or like
Yeah,
abuse.
that's the saddest stuff is the stuff you didn't think about before
Yeah.
you made that like impulsive decision, you know? Like I don't regret much, but like
Dude, I think about that
you
when
know
I kill
when
a
you
bug.
do, you know,
Do you ever think about that when you kill a bug?
a bug.
Yeah. You're like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
that bug's not returning to its fucking thing. And it's like, I wonder what's expecting it to return. And I'm like, oh man, maybe it had like a bunch of food and it's
I like to think about when I'm pouring gasoline on anthills, you know. So
Yeah, I mean, I thought you said like, have you ever, I feel like that when I killed a buck, like a deer.
oh yeah.
And I was gonna say,
Like some
I've never
damage.
killed a buck,
Yeah, dude, I think about
but
that when I
bugs,
go
I've
out
killed
hunting.
lots of bugs, and like, I don't have too many qualms about it. Like, I'll try not to, but if I do, like, I'm not gonna lose sleep about it, you know.
I mean,
you were talking about you said you don't regret much and we got off the rails. What were you gonna say?
Oh, pretty much that's it. Like, I don't regret much in life. Oh, but like, for like what was I saying? Yeah, the saddest things are the things that you don't, the ripples that you're not expecting
Yeah.
make the impact. Like whether it be someone dying that you love, or like making a poor decision, or but at the same time, that's life, and you have to deal with it. And you have to move on, and then learn. Maybe I don't want to feel that way again, but yeah, like I don't have many regrets, but when I do have a regret, then I know it, and it feels like a punch in the gut. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen very often. It hasn't happened too lately.
Yeah.
But
It happens more when you're a kid or
the formative years.
like a teenager. You make a lot of or like a young
Yeah.
like just coming out of being a teenager, like early 20s is like yeah, you end up it's like it's just an extension of a toddler that like doesn't know like it's just clumsy.
Yeah, I'm gonna flail my arm and like I'm
Yeah.
not thinking of my thumb going into my dad's eyeball and then him having to go to the hospital
Yeah.
and like for 2 weeks wear an eye patch. It's like,
Wait.
oh shit, I'm sorry.
Did that happen? It's very
Actually
specific.
did happen. But yeah, just stupid stuff like that. We were like, I'm gonna pull my sister's hair, and like, I wasn't trying to make her cry, but like, I'm sorry.
It's like-
you know, it's like
There's a list of things you did when you were 22. It's like poke your dad, pull your sister's hair. Like
the worst thing I
like
ever
an
did to
adult.
I still feel bad about this today. And the worst thing I ever did to my sister, Lee, I remember to this day, I was in Jackson, Mississippi, and we were riding with my mom somewhere, and the this Suburban where like you could sit like backwards in the back of the car. And I had a sheet of paper for some reason, and I was like, I'm just gonna throw this sheet of paper. Threw it, flies through the air, and then like the corner of the paper just gives Lee, my sister, a paper cut in the white of her eye. I was just like, oh my god.
Oh my
I'm so
god.
sorry. I cannot take this back.
You cut your sister's cornea open, dude. That's fucked up.
I'm
That's
really,
like-
it wasn't like the important part of the eye. It was just like the white. So like it was okay. It was just a little red line. I felt so bad.
Damn,
Yeah,
that's wild.
I had regret about that.
That's like the horror story that like all the like like the lunch lady, the like recess observer extra ladies would tell me when I threw paper in school. They're like, somebody got their eye like, taken out.
Little Johnny lost his
Threw a
eye.
piece of paper and it went right in their eye. I'm like, sorry, okay, all right. I didn't think about-
old lady. Give her my pizza and fries.
Oh, I remember I told my sister, she's like 4 years old. Maybe, yeah, probably like 4. I was like 7. She like wanted to play, and I didn't want to because I was being a dick. And I was like, why don't you go play with your imaginary friend? And I was just like a spark of genius, tinkle putt. And she's like, what? And I'm like, you don't remember? You have an imaginary friend that you used to play with all the time. She's like, I do? And I'm like, yeah, I can't believe you forgot. And I gaslit my sister into having an imaginary friend.
Nice, and now she's a paranoid
Yeah,
schizophrenic.
yeah, now she's they talk about the consequences of your actions. She's ruined.
Sitting around with the padded walls.
Yeah, what she did to that family was
You should be a politician, man.
it was like a very diabolical, evil thing to do. Like children are bad people.
It's quite the psychological expose of like if you're just like studying like the species.
Yeah.
We need not mention Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, I think children are probably on average the worst people.
And some of the greatest as well, and most enlightened, I would say.
I mean, sometimes
I think
they have their moments, but they're like all pretty.
So
It's like a cat; it doesn't care.
with that in mind, wouldn't it mean that like naturally people are just bad? Because if we start out that way, and then everybody says at the end of your life, and I saw it with my grandma, like you revert to being a child pretty much, right? So you're just naturally just terrible. You just, oh my God.
I think we're all spectrums of something.
It's
And it
not
all
like
has
good.
its own place.
But
Like
you
good and
know,
evil's not black and white. It's like good.
but yeah, it's a spectrum
shades to it.
because babies and children and even grandparents, they have their cuteness every now and then.
Yeah,
Their charm.
yeah.
Every now and then they'll smile at you with no teeth. And then you'll be like, okay.
You got go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, do y'all ever like catch yourselves like thinking lately, like, I'm my late 30s, 38. I'll be turning 39 in June. But I've noticed lately, the past couple of years more than my 20s and stuff. But I'm like looking back on my life mentally in my head, and it's like, what is my ideal self? And do you ever go back to like, I don't know, maybe like your 9-year-old self and just think about like, that's who I want to be. Like that was it. Like attitude, just like confidence.
Yeah, actually, I it's weird you'd say that because I have this memory of seeing myself like in the reflection or something when I was young. And it was less of a aspiration and more like a here's what it is kind of thing. Yeah. So it felt like it feels like almost either like faded or like a self-fulfilling kind of thing. But it wasn't necessarily an aspiration. It's kind of like you could say that I saw what I was going to become, or you could say that I saw it and then I became it, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, like does art imitate life or is life imitating art?
Right. Yeah, it's all cyclical.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Which
think
yeah, I think we are like I think we've fallen in the sea of fractal infinity, kind of, you know. And
oh
we're trying
yeah.
to make sense of it somehow.
Yeah, for sure. Like even logic is this like grasping tool that doesn't actually map onto experience, you know? Like everything we have is like that. It's a flawed instrument for something that cannot actually be explained for what it is except through experience. Like, so yeah, like language is another tool like that where it's like I'm trying to explain a concept and it's a struggle. I can't just like streamline it to you.
So how empowering it can be, but also how limiting it can be
Yeah.
at the same time. It's the paradox.
Yeah. And there's a lot of beauty in that. Like that's what poetry is, right? Is like the art of trying to say something, even though you have like the tool's not perfect. Like it's not gonna be perfect. And that's part of what makes it art, is like you're trying to say something instead of just saying it.
Yeah, sometimes that's the beauty of rock and roll, is because sometimes it feels like you're literally taking a rock and like banging it onto like another rock or something, and you know, trying to just make something out of it and figure out, remember what you did last time and build upon it.
Yeah. It's an expression. Yeah. I think dude, you're talking about the fractals, now you got me going. I think everything is just one thing, you know, like God is this, like this is God.
Like a singularity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not making anything, it's doing something. Like this is just what God looks like.
Dude, when I see Space Nebula, I'm like, what the fuck are we a part of?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And dude, like
It's
scale.
like my favorite thing to see is space clouds is like, oh my God, what the? That's what we are, the tiniest fabric. of.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Space isn't dark. It's full
Yeah.
of light.
Yeah.
It's like so much shit.
Dude, it could be literally
Like the water, oddly enough.
Dude, we could be
Yeah.
like we could
Good
be
point.
we could be inside of like an electric current of like some other giant fucking
Yeah.
world.
Yes. And same true going down in
Yeah.
scale.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Infinitely small, infinitely big.
So size
infinite
is like-
fractal theory. Yeah.
yeah, like you need like we would be the like starting point, so we could like start to map that, like scale outwards and scales down. But like if it's infinite, then there is no measuring it because it just is, like it just goes. And I think like that's what's crazy about like Mandelbrot sets and fractals and all that stuff, is like limitations are a very human concept. Like that's not a like a universal thing from what I can tell.
It makes us feel safe, I think.
Yeah.
Because like the most terrifying aspect of like an acid trip or something is coming to terms with infinity. Because you're like, if my spirit soul is infinite, that means I have to be somewhere all the time. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And then you can like be caught in these like, you know, weird scenarios or loops for
Yeah.
like ages. And then you come back and you're like, oh yeah, I'm tripping in my friend's basement. Like 1,000 years went by.
Yes.
I've been crawling through a sea of alien Skulls.
I can tell you've done a lot of psychedelics as someone who has done a lot of drugs. Yeah, that's I mean, very well put. Like that is how it is. And that can be like for the religious people, more power to them. That could be thank God that this isn't the end. Like life continues after death, and then you can like go to deep places in your own conscious mind or in the universe where you're like, oh no, not existing is better than existing on some frequencies. Like I think it's all infinite. Like consciousness is infinite, but I think like you, that kind of scares me a little bit. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing final about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is comforting. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say? My bad, man.
No, it's okay.
No bad. There's no such thing as a mistake. The only mistake is an option that was not premeditated.
Bars.
Confucius said.
Confucius says.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
What
okay.
were we even talking? Oh yeah. Super deep stuff. Oh, I was gonna say recap real quick.
Where were we at the end of that? It was
We'll cut all this, don't worry.
No, what were we just talking about?
Just the fractal limit,
Yeah,
infinite
self-imposed limitations and how the idea of an afterlife is not necessarily a comforting one. It can be not a comforting one. Dude,
Oh, you were saying something about something about the perspective of religious people.
yeah. It
Say
can be
that again?
comforting to think that there's more after this. Right? It's like a comforting thing for some people. For some people, it's like, oh,
So
that's
I
because you
think-
lack imagination.
I
If you
think
think
the
that's-
religious people came across something that was like beyond, like we all were just talking about like dimension, like interdimensional shit. I think that shit happened to some people, or like whatever, they discovered drugs or whatever, like the cavemen fucking started tripping on mushrooms or something and started getting more spiritual. But then comes, like I was saying, with the clicks, with the people trying to get stardom, and then they get a taste of like success or whatever, it became like
they monetized
they
it.
started turning into rock star shaman dudes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now, like, I'm not a shaman, I'm a priest.
They
Like, you know what I
commoditized it.
mean? Yeah. And it's like, oh, nobody knows this language anymore. Like, I'm the only one who can translate this for you.
Dude,
now.
that's so true.
And now you have the Vatican with their vast library, which
Yeah, they're gatekeeping knowledge.
man.
Is there anything more evil? Well, yes.
This is still to be determined. If they decide to hand it over and let people have access to it one day, then maybe they're just preserving it. But if they were just to like keep that shit like forever,
Well, what
like,
dictates
I
what
don't know.
generation
That's
is worthy
messed up.
of reading it?
That's where I was about to say too. Is like you
Well,
don't tell
digitize it.
me I can't read that. Who the fuck are you? You know, it's like, yeah, like who the fuck are you that you think you just get to decide what we get to
I'm just
have
gonna
access
hoard
to?
all this shit.
Like that doesn't belong to you. You stole that and put it behind a wall.
Well, we don't know who it belongs to.
It belongs to humanity.
Maybe
It belongs to, and even if it doesn't, as a human, I'm like, nah, that belongs to us, whatever
Maybe-
it is.
maybe one day we can have AI fucking nanobots go into that shit and digitize it all, and then like put it on the internet for free.
We were talking about this last week.
We're infiltrating with nanobots now.
Yeah, we were talking about this on the pod last week, but you know how like AI can tell you if something's written by AI, like teachers will use it to like see if they're
Okay.
kids
I
or
wasn't aware that they were combating AI with AI.
Yeah.
Fighting
Man,
fire
I'm
with
so
fire.
glad we got it out of school when we did.
Dude,
Oh, yeah. So now,
I just missed it.
well, it's one of those things that like it's just an anti-plagiarism thing.
Yeah.
Like they've had that kind of stuff for a long time where they can tell if you actually wrote it.
Yeah, but it was figuring out whether you copy and paste from Spark Notes and shit like that.
Yeah.
It was like super easy. But now it's like
Now it's
AI
tough.
is
Now it's tough because you can tell ChatGPT to write you something unique that's
Yeah.
differently worded
and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's good on the music side too.
Yeah,
Sorry about that, guys.
we are losing certain brain matter when it comes to this, but like we will evolve into a species that's gonna have a good time. I hope. You know,
Fingers crossed.
It's an interesting turn of whatever this technology brings. It's gonna go absolutely terribly bad or really fucking good.
Yeah,
Like,
let's
yes,
make-
one of those two things will happen.
Yeah.
if I had to say one thing, just like as a message to, not to ask myself this own question, but as a message to anyone who like, just the world, it's like, there's a lot of talk about making America great and stuff, but like let's make the world fun.
Make
So,
the
like,
world fun. Instead
you're
of make the
born
world
here-
fun again, let's make the world fun for the first
If
time.
you're born on Earth, like you should be, like your right should be to have fun and to have a like
What do you mean?
full long life.
I don't mean to cut you off.
some people are psychopaths though, and their fun
Yeah.
is
So
That's my
bathing
idealistic
in
dream.
blood.
I'm really not splitting hairs here, but I'm curious as to what you mean.
Fun is a very broad term.
Well, and I'm more interested in you said it should be everyone's right to have fun.
Yeah,
it's tough.
it's morphing into the next dimension or reality or whatever, wherever we are. Ideally, in my mind, because I'm an idealist and I'm normally a what's the opposite of pessimist?
Optimist.
Normally, yeah, I used to be an optimist. I've been getting closer and closer to being a pessimist, but I refuse. But like, I would like to see just, yeah, make the world, make America, make life fun again.
Make life fun for everyone.
Yeah,
Is that?
and like that doesn't mean you don't have struggles,
I
but
think where
in
I'm
general,
at
yeah.
with it is what I immediately think of when I hear that is a lot of the things that make life not fun are not imposed. A lot of them are imposed by other people. A lot of them are not. So like sickness and death and like you have to like sustain yourself, like food and water, like that's nothing put on us. So it's like I guess that's a gripe with reality, right? Is like that's not fun. Whereas so we I think we kind of have a right to treat each other with respect and not make other people have a bad time. But then there's other things to overcome with that. I guess is like you're saying, like with technology, like make all of the things that are not fun, like use technology to get rid of that, basically.
Yeah, pretty much
Okay.
like free energy for one.
Yeah.
Like have it be so not just completely trash the economic system that we have, but if there would be a way to somehow shift incentives so people could keep everyone could keep their job, but just get paid, a living wage and then a little bit extra. Like everyone can do whatever they want to do, but like everyone's get taken care of.
Here's the
they're
thing
getting
about
paid.
that, right? Is like it's the nice thing to do, but it's no one's responsibility to help anyone else, right? Or is it? Do you disagree?
So I think like if I don't think we should fight against technology helping us do tasks. Like it's what we've always done. It's what we're always going to do. Like if technology is going to make a task easier, we're always going to lean that direction. If it's going to make it cheaper, unfortunately, the whole world is obsessed with money. So yeah, like if it's cheaper and easier and you don't have to hire somebody to do it, like that's the direction that things are going to go. So embrace it. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to need some kind of measuring stick still. Now it's not going to be so much about what you can do to be productive as far as uh, uh, like restocking or like something in retail. You're going to have to be finding something a little more profound or something that can't be done by AI.
You're saying we need value.
It may end up making us more artistic, more creative, more digitally social or whatever to gain our currency or whatever, but something's going to happen. They can't knock out a giant percentage of the workforce and have no backup plan.
Well, like you're saying, automation is inevitable.
Right.
That is the end result of progressing the technology, is it eventually does the thing on its own. So it's like we will be removed
model
value wise, like what gives us worth if it's not our monetary, like, because that's unfortunately been the thing, right? Is like what gives
attention really is what it comes down to for a lot of things.
Which a lot of people are thinking like a social credit score, like
yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah, there's like that Black Mirror episode.
Oh yeah, that's a real thing in China.
Yeah. Oh my god,
you can get it's a fucking nightmare.
Like you get cut off and you're just like,
yeah, you can't. Okay,
no, just go to Disney World and try to order some food at the Harry Potter house, and like
what?
It's all digital, so you don't actually talk to the customer. Or it's also just like the Bavarian Beer Garden at Opera Mills. It's all through the iPad, so like it's all gravy if it works. But like, say if you get the wrong drink or something, or like you need to ask somebody for a question, everyone ignores you, and it's like, hello, like I'm sorry that. Like I still need to talk to a human being.
And it's not good for us, like mentally either. It's like you'll have people like there needs to be either like it's unfortunate, but it needs to either be the AI is so good at helping and like getting you through the situation where you don't need us anymore, or like it's just humans like doing it, because there's just when you have the mix of both, you get just humans that are detached from other humans. Like they're just like so.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. AI is going to get so evolved. It's going to get to a point where it's going to develop compassion. It's going to have compassion for these human beings. It's going to be like, hey, I want to set these human beings up for success.
You hope that's.
I want to give them free energy. I want to give them shelter. I want to give them food.
Is that what
I want to let them?
Or they could
in the fields.
Or they could focus on our flaws and be like, we can do better.
There's a dimension for that too, because we're also hyper-dimensional. Yeah.
So is that what you think is going to happen?
That's what I would hope would happen.
That's what I would hope would happen.
I
agree with you there, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'll say this. I know for sure it is inevitable. That is going to happen. People will be completely removed from the workforce at some point. And I don't think that's a good thing. I'm not advocating for it. I'm saying that's going to happen because automation is just the natural conclusion to advancing technology. And because there is a profit to be gained, people are going to do that. And I don't really see a way around that except like violent intervention. Like go kill all those motherfuckers that are doing that. That's the only way we stop this, right?
Well, I always see like we had COVID, so there's like a very brief like example of like a giant like shitstorm of just new normal, the strokes. But
Ab?
Yeah.
Did you say Abby normal?
Yeah. But
Abby. Normal. Abby normal.
Yeah. Fuck. What was I just saying?
Young Frankenstein. You seen it? Great movie.
um.
uh,
But oh yeah, I was thinking of Yellowstone. Goes
oh,
off, dude. That super volcano. That's oh my god, that's gonna be epic. It's gonna be like oh shit, reset, factory reset button.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
We have a live volcano in Yellowstone.
Oh, dude, you don't know about the super volcano?
No.
Oh shit. Okay.
Bruh.
So yeah, you know how
It
there's
goes
like
off.
it's like it's kind there's like Yellowstone is like kind of gained a what am I looking like tourist attraction, but it's because of like the geysers and like the hot springs and all that is very like active,
Oh,
right? But it's just flat land, so you
Okay.
don't think about it as a volcano because it hasn't gone off in forever. But it's super active, fertile ground
no
that's
shit.
just fucking letting shit off and venting all the time. But it's a massive fucking super volcano that's bubbling underneath.
No
that.
shit.
Right. So the prediction is if that goes off, it will send an ash cloud that will cover not only the entire continent
Oh shit.
of the North America, but will venture off into the ocean and possibly hit Europe
Oh my god.
and Asia.
Oh, so we're definitely cooked. It's a
The
question
ash,
if
the ash cloud could cause a nuclear winter, basically.
Oh my god.
Hey, don't forget the sea of infinite fractals. So there's possibilities.
Yeah, this could go on forever, but you know.
That's crazy. So I mean, again, like that's inevitable, right? Like that will go off at some point.
Yeah,
That is going to happen.
But it's
So they say.
so they say, but it's been overdue since I was in high school. So, I mean,
How have I never heard of
35.
this? That's insane. I mean, that just seems like a thing I would have heard about because I'm a crazy person.
They told us about it in high school, and I'm from
more you
upstate
know.
New York.
Yeah.
Like that's
Okay.
like the farthest I could be.
New fear unlocked. Thank you.
I'm
wild.
You see, I fear it, but I kind of am like that'd be cool to live through.
I don't think anyone's living through that. Dude.
No, it'd be. I don't mean that I want to happen like tomorrow or whatever, but like it'd be like a factory reset challenge accepted.
Yeah, that'll be really cool for the people
in. Can we make it through a fucking
in China?
I don't want to do that
nuclear
again,
fallout? Did you say again?
Dude,
What did you say? You don't want to do that?
We've
What?
done that thousands of times. We don't want to do that again. Let's get to the next phase with the free energy, the free shelter, and free art.
Are you speaking from like a
Eventually we'll need to become
Buddhist perspective?
off Earth.
Yeah,
that's
too.
Gotta happen if we're gonna survive, right? Like,
do you believe in
reincarnation?
Do you believe in Merkabas as a legitimate source of space travel?
What? What'd you say?
Wait a minute.
Speak English?
I don't know if I understand the question.
Merkabas?
Like in the Bible? Like Ezekiel?
No, supposedly you can do meditation practices and build a energetic system around your body that allows you to travel much like a flying saucer.
Oh shit.
You didn't know this?
No! Y'all are blowing my fucking mind right now.
Oh, dude, look into the Merkaba. I mean, I don't know if it's legit. There's a really good book, which I think about it was like when I first got into like occult spiritualism and conspiracy was my roommate. He had a book. It was like everything in this book. It was a paradox. It was like everything in this book is true, but none of it is real.
Is that the Kabbalion?
Not the Kabbalion. Nothing in this book is true, but it's I don't know.
Google.
Yeah. So through meditation, you create a field around yourself and travel through space.
Yeah, essentially.
That's nuts.
You gotta get a Google guy. Pull it up. I'm just kidding.
Pull that shit up, Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie.
Okay, Google.
I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go upstairs for a sec, or halfway upstairs.
Yeah, that's where I first heard about the Merkaba and this dude talking about like breath work exercises and like it's the
If I'm not mistaken, that's also the name of the spaceship fiery chariot thing that Ezekiel sees.
it could be
Damn.
like the spinning wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thrones. Yeah.
Man, not to get on another tangent, but that's one thing. If I had a time machine, I'd love to go back into the biblical era,
Hmm.
to see what was actually going on.
Yeah. The that is a thing about I really like whatever book that is. If you remember, let me know. But like it's just a very true thing of like of alchemy. It's like everything is true and nothing's true. It's like knowledge is in the human context, a very meaningful thing, but ultimately doesn't exist. Kind of everything's contextual, I guess. There is no knowledge without context. So it's like we have context because we live in a physical space. So there's context to that.
Yeah.
But if everything's infinite, then nothing exists. Not in any meaningful contextual way.
Context and variables.
Yeah.
Yeah. Infinity. Yeah. How does infinity make you feel? Like a lot of people seem to jump on small, but it also makes me feel like special.
Infinity. Okay, so I feel like you are a perfect guest for this show. First of all, let me say that. Because I can talk to you about this, but like I've like through DMT, through using like the Ouija board and channeling, I have seen things that makes infinity a terrifying thing to me because I've opened doors that I wish I could shut. And the idea of like nothing being finite and existence, if existence is infinite, then there is infinite potential, both conceivable and unconceivable in all spectrums. So it's like that's not a comforting thing to me. That's kind of a terrifying thing to me. And it makes me very grateful to be alive here. And not if infinity is a real thing, then this is very, very fucking special and fragile, right?
Which is why we cling to it so hard, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe. But if it's infinite,
That's what it was.
Doesn't that mean that there's a bunch of better ones?
Yes, there's an infinite amount of better ones, and there's an infinite amount of worse ones, too.
Dude, I just, man,
When you think
if-
of it and you're like, oh, my
what
life's
if-
not that bad.
what
You're
if
like,
our
holy
physical
shit,
I
how
tend to
lucky.
fixate on like the hellscapes.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I don't want to go there, but like I see it, and it's like that's like it's like even in human life, like there is a breaking point for it's an uncomfortable thought. I'm sorry to get so bleak, but like there's a breaking point. Like if we're all like being tortured or something, we all have a point where we would rather be dead. Like that is not a statement about us as individuals. That's a statement about life, right?
It's very nihilistic, but yeah.
Everyone's got a breaking point. Like even if let's say, which I don't necessarily believe in this necessarily,
at least
even
you think
if
you do.
well, okay, your breaking point. It's like, oh, well, I can survive any kind of physical torment. Okay, what about things happening to other people, right? It's like you would rather die than that happen to someone else. Like everyone has a point that they would rather die than live in the consequence of something. And it's like that's the finality is like at least you have a fucking choice. But like
Right.
hell is like
There's no choice.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no comfort.
What
of
if the
finality.
choice of death was just you both fucking die? You know?
Well, that's the most. That's the
Hell
most.
yeah, that's the best choice.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you're not saving the other person.
That's
Yeah,
the most diabolical aspect of the hell scenario is that based on your decisions in life, you could be put in a realm where of infinite torment.
Right,
And,
where
like,
Yeah.
that's
you're
the
forced
most,
to
like,
deal with all of the shit that happens around you, if whether you care or not.
yeah.
if
And
I was
eventually you
God,
don't.
personally, if I was God, like, even if that somehow happened, I feel like I'd be like, nah, not gonna put people through that.
Right,
You know,
right.
like,
That's
I
like
don't
that's the
want to believe
complex.
it.
That's the like culmination that I had too. It's like that with the lake of fire. It's like, how about the people that didn't go in the lake of fire, that are just like, some of those people, they were my friend. You know what I mean?
No one
And
deserves
then
that, right?
right, and you're like, oh, one of my friends in the real world life that I came from, like, they're in the lake of fire forever. Like, oh shit.
It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
someone did; they don't deserve eternity in torment. Like that's
Right.
That's like an unreasonable thing for anyone to go through. Now, I don't necessarily think that's what the Bible's saying, though. I think like we are God. Like so, there's the mystery of the Trinity. So like that's what Catholics call it. I think is the mystery. But there's God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. And they call it the mystery because they admittedly don't know what it is. They can't explain it. It's like, how can you be in three places at once? And it's like, well, that's what reality is like we're God the Son. Like Jesus is, he's not special. He's a guy who figured this out. And it's like, oh, I'm the Son of God. Like I am God moving through this place. So it's like God becomes awake as a person. And then the Holy Spirit is like the thing that we're in. And it's like, so that's how God's in three places at once, is because God transcends time and space. So it is just, so that is not a comforting thought, because that means that maybe you sinned yourself, like where you're at mentally, like guilt is like something that like you don't choose to dwell on it, but you will. So it's like maybe not intentionally, but you put yourself into lower places if that's what you deserve and you know that. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like not a God of judgment, but like you almost judging yourself and like not even trying to, but like unintentionally making yourself on that level, I think is kind of, sorry, that was a tangent.
That could be like a more accurate description, like, of what the reality is, you know. But there are a lot of, like, fundamental Christians and people who will say, like, no, like, you have to, you know, you have to say Jesus is Lord. You have to believe these things. Otherwise, like, that's your faith, you know. Like,
Which I don't really even know if they really truly have even thought about it or believe
No,
that.
they don't think about it that deeply.
Because when they just like puppet talk like that with like just what I've already heard, and they're just copy and paste from what their pastor said, I'm just like, dude, like, I grew up with that. I know what you're trying to tell me.
What,
But like,
sorry, go ahead.
non-denominational.
Okay.
But we're kind of more Jewish, honestly, than
Okay.
Christian. But we were Christian.
Yeah, I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. It's pretty like that. It's like we know what it is. No one
See,
else
I
does.
was when I was coming in to, you know, just growing up, the church that my family was associated with was like growing up with me. So
Yeah.
it was like they went from being super Old Testament, super like you basically can't do sports because you can't do anything on Friday night, because on Friday night you have to be cooking at home with your family, because your family can't do anything on Saturday, because Saturday is the true Sabbath, because it's the seventh day, and like all that kind of Jewish kind of stuff. So it was like seventh day, God rested, like very Old Testament. But as I was coming into that, there was a change of, it was like Armstrong Senior died and Armstrong Junior was taken over, and yeah, it just started becoming more New Testament, more forgiving, more like Jesus died for your sins so you can sin more or whatever.
Excuse
But like,
to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Are your
it's
parents
like,
still do that?
I mean, it was really a grandparents thing.
I gotcha.
So I think everybody, it kind of just died off with them. But I was around, like I came about when they were still doing that.
I gotcha.
So, but it's like at a certain point when you become unindoctrinated to that, it's like I know, like you talking to me like you're brainwashed. Can you talk to me like in
Right, like a fucking human who has
right?
thoughts.
You're like a programmed.
This happens with politics too,
Yeah.
where people
Oh,
are
yeah.
like, I
There's no
don't have
nuance.
thoughts. I have what my party says.
Right.
And it's like I see it on every angle of everything. Like atheists are like this too, where it's like you're a religious fanatic. Like what do you have faith in something. Like the same way that religious people do or that political people do. It's like you're making a faith argument right now. Anyway, sorry. Did you grow up with religion?
Yeah, I was baptized Episcopalian by like my dad's like good friend growing up, but mainly Presbyterian. Went to a Christian school, um, and then switched to public school junior year of high school. But yeah, Presbyterian.
Yeah,
Your standard Christian household.
gotcha. What do y'all think happens after we die now, where you're at?
I mean, for all I know, I died 4 times this week,
Mm.
and I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how I'm still alive, to be honest. I feel like we're all slowly like dying onto our own death. So maybe when it actually happens, we'll know.
well said. You're dead from the moment you're born, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean about that. Yeah,
I think at this point, I think all of the religions that have stories that have continued to perpetuate through history, and there's still the stories. I think they're all so similar. They and all these different divides focus on why they're different, but they're all so fucking similar that they're probably all fucking true. They're in some vein.
They're all true.
So I think
yeah,
at this point it's like you don't want to disregard the moral standpoints of certain things, but at the same time you don't want to stand necessarily on like this is the one true church.
Yeah,
like
I totally
think the one true church lives within yourself, and it is your relationship with whatever this is.
They're all kind of paths to the same place. Like you can use any of these to get where you're going, basically, because they're all ultimately the same, like you said. I think politics is like that too. Like everyone, I don't know any like I mean, I guess I'm very blessed in this way. But I don't really know a lot of bad people.
Politics is weird because there's like so many different like there's just too many variables where it's like you got a bill that's attached to a thousand terrible ideas because the bill is fucking long as fuck, but in one paragraph of that bill there's a thing that you've been trying to get to pass for fucking ever. So
Yeah.
you're like, yes. And you just voted yes on a thousand terrible things.
It's all crooked.
But you're like, finally we have health care
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck you're going for.
My only strong opinion politically is that I fucking hate the government, and that's bipartisan.
My God, that's American.
Yeah, you're goddamn right. I fucking hate. I have a larger problem with authority, and this is a God argument as well.
That's why it's like I don't want Yellowstone to blow up, but like, you know, a factory
Worst things
reset
have
would be
happened,
nice.
right?
It would be nice to at least, oh, now we're fucked. We have to work together for a second.
Yeah,
Like,
something
okay.
unified.
It's like when you're
Cool.
trying to quit smoking cigarettes, like, I'll just throw the pack in the trash can. And then like a couple days
No.
later, you're like, fuck.
No,
I
see,
guess
if I'm
I'll buy
gonna
another one.
if I'm gonna quit, it's gotta line
Except
up
you can't
perfect.
buy another one.
It's gotta
I
line
don't
up
know.
perfectly where it's like, okay, I have my last cigarette. It's 12. It's midnight. I'm about to go to bed. It's the last cigarette in the pack. This is the time where I can quit. Because otherwise, if I'm not thinking that, I'm like, oh, but I got this whole pack I gotta smoke. And then it's like, oh shit. How am I gonna make it through the rest of the day? I gotta buy another pack. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I ran out at noon. Fuck. I ran out, oh, right before I'm going to bed. Maybe I should quit.
Yeah.
Don't buy another pack tomorrow. But no, I know. I'm only speaking in such specifics because I just quit.
Congratulations.
Kind of. I kind of just quit. I kind of just had one, but I haven't bought a pack in over a week.
It kind of started.
It's like I'm actually smoking right now, but I just quit.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is something I ask everyone. What do you guys have any ghost stories? And when I say ghost story, I just mean anything that falls in that, like, I don't know what the fuck that was. Or aliens, you know. Any weird, you guys got any weird stories?
I was
Hopefully
thinking
not about your
about
uncles.
this. I was thinking about that on the way here because we were listening to Witten's episode, and I was like, maybe he's gonna ask that. I was like, oh, dude, don't really have like a ghost story, but I do remember there were girls that lived next door to me that were like into that, and I was like, I just went along with it. I was like, yeah, I see that. I was just thinking of that story. I was like, yeah, I saw it, but I was like, what are you girls tripping or what the fuck? But no, I mean, it's always kind of been that way for me. Like, it's always been, at least in my being around it, it's always been somebody is obsessing over something moving without them being around or whatever, and I'm like, okay, why isn't it doing it for me? I hate for me, it's like, is the other realm like afraid of me knowing about them? Like, what do you have against me? Show me. You know, open up to me. Maybe I'm just not clairvoyant. Is that the word?
It's like Harry Potter's like, why isn't Gandalf talking to me? Why is no one talking to me?
I think it's kind of like I never had anything weird happen to me until I tried. Like I went looking for it, and like nothing really weird happened when I was a kid or anything. It was like me just getting out on my own for the first. So I was also homeschooled, and when I got out on my own, I was like really obnoxiously atheist, and I was dating this girl that was really into woo-woo stuff, and like long story short, like if you go looking for that, like I think calling it even like a gift of clairvoyance is like not that's not a gift because you can do that if you want to. It's more like some people are they do it without trying to, um, which I guess is a gift and a curse. This perspective.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of weird stories, but always like after like I opened up that door. You know what I mean? What about you? Do you got any crazy stories?
I've seen some weird things in the sky, looking up at
Okay.
random times. I've seen stars light up and diminish and then move over like they're in a grid,
Whoa.
which was surreal.
Wait,
July,
okay. Like in alignment with each other?
kind of. This was I lived in Portland, Oregon for almost a year back in like 2010, and it was 4th of July, and I remember being out at the park with some friends, and it was kind of I had a couple beers, and I was like had a little buzz, you know. But I remember looking up at the sky, and I was like, are those stars like brighter than they used to be? And they looked up and were like, oh yeah. And then we looked up and they got brighter, and then dimmed down, got bright again, and then just went and just moved over like a machine kind of, which is very strange. And then after that, you know, in my mind's eye, I imagine like a little spaceship like floating down to the park that we were at, and these two random dudes that like looked like twins walked up, and just intuitively I just went up and like kind of talked to them and had this like random conversation, which I like to think that like I was talking to aliens, but I was, you know, could have just been a psychotic episode as well.
What did y'all talk about?
It was weird. It was like, you know, when you're tripping and you kind of have like telepathy with your friend, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
they looked at me and I was like, hey, what's up? They're like, hey, you're on Earth now, huh? And I was like, yep. I was like, what are you here to do again? I was like, I'm here to rock. Like gave him a fist bump.
Holy
And then
shit.
like they walked off, and I was like, all right.
How old were you?
That would have been 2010, 24.
Jesus Christ. And there were other people there?
Yeah, like my friend group, they were all hanging out, and then like I kind of walked off, like, you know.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the first half, like the physical seeing the star light up, like everyone saw that, and then move over. I don't know if they saw that part. And then the rest of it was like my imagination, which just so happened to coincide with reality of these
Sure.
dudes walking up and like having a brief conversation.
I understand what you mean. It's like
Yeah.
what happened is not important.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was the experience. I've had experiences like that too,
Yeah.
where in reality, like if this was on camera, that's probably not what happened, but that is what I lived. And that's like that is like I don't count that out.
Right. Yeah. That's wise to not. I think.
Yeah.
I
Because what it like that's a type of technology, right? Like that kind of episode is like if you write that off, you're like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, trying to understand human nature. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was weird. Oddly enough, like I was gonna mention too, on the drive there, like I did a road trip. I got a budget truck, and then found it like visited, found an apartment to move into, and then just like drove out there. And right before getting to Portland, there's like I drove in at night, and I look over to my right, and I literally see a flying saucer with the lights like ding, 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 like going around the side, and I was like, holy fuck, I'm witnessing a flying saucer right now. Like I'm like the aliens are real. They're back. I was like, this is awesome. I was like, oh my God. And I'm kind of delirious because like I've been driving for like 4 days because I kind of took my time and went through like Roswell, New Mexico, and like up through
That's awesome.
Denver, and drove through all the way to Portland. And So I have this euphoria of seeing UFO. I'm like, oh my God, this is real. And then a couple, like maybe 15, 20 minutes later, I realized, oh, that's a lake next to me that I'm driving to. And I was like, oh, that flying saucer that I thought was a flying saucer is actually the reflection of a truck on the other side of the lake that was reflecting off the water, which formed a perfect flying saucer in my mind with the lights and everything. I was like, oh my God, that sucks. That is not real.
His
But,
heart
like,
broken.
yeah, but at the same time, like it was real because, like, for me
Sure.
at that time, I feel like that's how the interdimensionalities work, and it's not something you should just completely discount, like you said, throwing the baby out
Dude.
the bathwater.
I got a crazy story I'll tell you after the episode.
Alright.
About like going somewhere and not actually leaving, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, life is crazy. And
yeah.
like becoming an adult is just realizing like, oh, everyone's just kind of acting like they know what's going on. It's like some people are real confident, like they buy their own bullshit. Where it's like, oh, I know I'm like an adult and I know what's going on. And it's like you have even tricked yourself
I always-
into believing that.
I always wonder what those people are like behind closed doors when they know nobody's around.
They don't know either.
My whole life is a lie.
Under the
They're
blanket
always
in the
around,
fetal
so-
position.
They're always around themselves, so they don't know what it's like either.
Yeah.
Or maybe yeah, they just collapse into a puddle. Like they lock the door behind them and just collapse. Like fucking robots. Well, it was good talking to you guys. Thanks for coming on. This was fun.
Yeah.
Y'all were a great conversation. Check out Blissful Idiot. That's April 3rd. Y'all are playing at Cobra.
Yep.
First show at the Cobra. This is our second show of all time as Blissful Idiot.
Oh fuck yeah.
So yeah.
Hell yeah. I'll do my best to be there. Is that that'd be a Wednesday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday, April 3rd at the Cobra. Go see Blissful Idiot. And then I'll put links to we'll bury your personal music on there and also Blissful Idiot.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. Yeah, we're new. We've been rehearsing for a year. Like we're just like getting our chops together. So like we're hoping to meet local bands, and if anyone ever like holler at us if anyone ever is last minute needs an opening band,
Jump
or
on a
anything,
bill.
like,
Or...
yeah,
Y'all
we
should
just wanna
definitely
play.
we're doing a festival, I think I told you about it. Called Bunny Roo. That's our
Yeah.
little rabbit hole festival. Y'all definitely meet a bunch of people if you come out there.
Yeah, I will be there. I'm gonna make it a point. I don't know about Chris, but I'm gonna
When is it?
drag him over there if
It'll
he's not
be-
working.
That's gonna be April 5th at the Easter. Yeah, no pressure, but obviously love to have you guys if you want to come.
It's like a
For
daytime
sure.
thing.
No, it'll be I think music starts at 8.
Oh, I'll be there.
All right.
I mean,
We got 5 bands. We got
We'll be a little late, probably.
cassette. Yeah, we'll be going pretty late. We got Cassette Stress, HR Lexi, Winton Existing.
Hell yeah.
He's headlining, and
Nice.
Volleyball and Hussy Fit. So yeah, go Cobra April 3rd, and then walk across the street 2 days later to East Room, be at Bunny Room, and we'll see you then.